Ferrucci leading the field to green. Let's go from Portland, and what a run for Will Power coming down into turn one.
It was an early jump from Ferrucci. That gave Power the draft, but he's trying to hold it on the outside, side by side, and one Power is going to take it around the outside of two.
I thought Ferrucci touched right front to left rear of Will Power. It looks like he comes away unscathed, but Will Power being bold and decisive into the first corner.
That yellow and red car is the championship leader, Alex Palou in third. The green and black, Romain Grosjean, who has not won in more than a decade. He is in play today.
He's made a great start, up from sixth on the grid to fourth. And we see some moves now. That's on to Dixon into turn 7. Is that Kirkwood? We've seen this before, Townsend. Drivers getting pushed wide on the exit there. Dixon falling like a rock.
Massive penalty.
Contact.
This will be a big hit.
Dixon hard into the wall. One of the championship contenders is out and done.
Not sure who clipped Dixon.
We've seen this move a lot in the last year. Passes on the inside of 7, push a car wide. Everyone's trying to get around. It's 3 wide there. That's at the 30.
Pietro Fittipaldi.
With now Will Power in front of the field. Santino Ferrucci, Alex Palou, Romain Grosjean, and Christian Lundgaard in 5th. Headed back toward the chicane, this time single file.
How aggressive is Romain Grosjean with the championship leader, but further back, Newgard getting defensive with Kirkwood there.
Kirkwood trying to make moves after that engine penalty, knocked him down a bunch of spots in qualifying. Both of those drivers on those softer red sidewalled Firestones.
And Pietro Fittipaldi is getting an avoidable contact penalty, so he will have to give up his great position, 13th, and do the drive-through.
Yeah, I struggle with that one a little bit because it's not avoidable. His wheels were off the ground. There's not a whole lot he could do. He's got a point. He's got momentum on Dixon, but look, doesn't matter what we think.
Penalty issued. I agree with race control. He could have probably stayed a little further right or just backed out of it, as we'll take one more look on the left here. He could have gone further right, kept his left sides down on that tarmac. It's understandable. It's not like it was intentional. It's an accident, but you did take out a car in a pretty vicious way on the back straightaway. So on we go. Look at Colton Herta with a move.
Lundgaard going defensive into turn 1, but nicely executed from the driver of the Gamebridge Honda.
And that's the driver that came in 2nd in the championship today. He is still in play as we see the high V on board from Christian Lundgaard.
So loose is the call from Christian Lundgaard.
Way too early to be in that situation. So that is a setup issue that he's dealing with, because we're just 7 laps in. He's on the harder black tire. He should not have oversteer this early.
I was speaking to Christian on the walk into the track this morning, and he said, here's the thing. Yeah, we got a good qualifying position. We can do it over a lap, but it is so hard. It is so much work to get that lap time over a stint. I'm really worried about what this thing's going to do. We're lap 7 of this race. Most of them already run under caution. This could be a long afternoon for the 45.
Felix Rosenquist has been quick, but started in the back. He is one of those that's been able to move forward just a little bit, a couple since the restart. And David Malukas is the biggest mover so far. And there's the championship leader. He has moved up to 2nd. Palou scores more points. Ferrucci drops to 3rd.
Top 2 in the championship, running top 2 inverted in the race, and it's no surprise both of these drivers so wicked fast on a road course.
But for Santino Ferrucci, his first time starting on pole, he just has to settle in here. Don't get caught up, don't try too hard, don't try to force it. Over 100 laps to go, just settle in, run with the leaders, and let your team help you on pit lane. Let's take a look at the pass again. Textbook stuff here from Alex Palou on the draft, deep on the brakes. Ferrucci given a pretty wide berth there. And I think what's going to be really interesting over the next 10 laps is that green and black car of Romain Grosjean, the first car on the softer red tires. When or if the tire compound starts to degrade, when does that happen for Romain Grosjean? That's going to signal to the rest of the field what happens.
They are gonna go to blacks, and this theory tracks with what you guys just talked about. Will Anderson, the engineer, said if the Reds are struggling, we can pit about lap 17 and do blacks to the end if we wanted it to. I think that may be their plan here. That's what Pato goes to. They'll have to run long on this stint.
Now, not every team handles the same way on tires, but it's a pretty good indicator. I'll be watching Grosjean and Kirkwood and Newgarden now. Do they try to stretch it, or are they going to come to the box and really make this definitively a black tire race for the front runners?
Rinus VeeKay, you see in the green and black, number 21, Ed Carpenter Racing Chevy also came in. We had a few stoppers on the lap 2, just topping off on that very first yellow.
Now, if this ends up a black tire race, Rinus VeeKay is really in a hole because he has bailed on those black tires early, and now he has to run long on the Reds as he's challenged by David Malukas down the backstretch.
VeeKay fresh out of the pit lane or one lap in?
No, he's fresh out of the pits.
Fresh out of the pits. Early stop from Malukas, and right in front of him, Rossi. That's working out for those guys. That clean air that they came out in at the back of the field, they're the first and third fastest cars on the racetrack at the moment. So they're essentially also doing the undercut strategy. They're doing fast laps while they've got that clean air, and when you cycle through, there's a good chance they'll close the gap and pass some of the drivers that are sort of stuck in a line here in dirty air and saving fuel.
I think we're about to get our answer here as we ride on board with Kyle Kirkwood. He will come to pit lane, Dylan. Can't hang on any longer.
And they have a set of sticker red tires laid out, sticker Firestones here for Kirkwood, which they have to run since they started on the used reds at the beginning of this race. So we'll be interested to see how much longer these new tires hang on for Kirkwood. They'll add shell fuel as well, and if he wants, after this stint, they'll be done with the red tires and can go black tires at the end.
Yeah, and that's what's key from that team, making that decision. Normally, you see teams switch from one compound to the other, so that way they've satisfied the tire rule and can open up their options. In this case, going red to red is because they want to satisfy the red side of that rule, and now they have the option to go blacks for the rest of the race.
Romain Grosjean started on used alternates, so this shows that they've got a setup and a balance that's making them last. This is very optimistic and positive that he's not losing space.
Yeah, and Kev, I spoke to a few drivers and a few engineers about the difference between the reds and the blacks. I think at ultimate lap time, it's fairly small in a race scenario, 3.5 tenths. So the degradation was the big key. I don't think we got super accurate information out of warm-up, but it really came down to, look, some drivers' setups prefer the alternates balance-wise, some prefer the primaries, and so I think what you'll see is a little bit of a difference in the tire strategy that really just comes down to which kind of tire that driver and that car setup is happier on. As O'Ward here trying to line up a pass, gets it done on Felix Rosenqvist.
He started 22nd.
Oh, goes a bit wide.
McLaren's qualified well. He's going to hang on to the position. But will Rosenqvist get a run back here? The former McLaren driver and a good friend of Pato O'Ward's. Rosenqvist with the AutoNation on board in the look ahead. I mentioned the McLarens, their best starter was Alexander Rossi at 17th.
Not great.
They were up by about 3/10 yesterday.
But one of the things you're seeing here is that's O'Ward on the blacks and that's Rosenqvist on the reds. So to Townsend's point, we sort of reached and passed that crossover point as the degradation of the reds creeps in.
As Alex Palou cut into that gap just a little bit. Just over a half a second, maybe 3-4 car lengths. And the DHL Honda behind Will Power in the Verizon Chevy.
These two have opened a healthy gap.
Contact down in turn one, seemingly at least a car backwards, as Pietro Fittipaldi and Connor Daly get together.
And guys, I don't think Pietro did the proper route through the chicanes in the runoff of the chicane, the barriers that race control puts up. Let's take a look at what happened here.
So Fittipaldi comes to the inside looking for the overtake. Is he there enough?
And to James's point, we'll get to that in a second, Pietro was supposed to make a hard left.
No, it's right front to left rear, fully locked up. What you're going to see from race control's point is the car that was making the pass has more responsibility. He came in out of control with the brake locked and took out another car. So bad break for Connor Daly.
More than likely, that'll be a second drive-through penalty for Pietro Fittipaldi.
And this is the car that Santino felt the best the moment they rolled off the truck this weekend. He's going to bring the 14 in. They're going to go from black tires to scuffed Firestone reds, fill it up with shell fuel as far as they can go, and he is down and away. We have to remember that these pit stalls are a foot shorter this weekend, so it presents a lot of challenges for these drivers.
So we'll remember that number, Georgia, 8.5 seconds for Santino Ferrucci as Scott McLaughlin and Team Penske come in, Dylan.
And he had cycled into the top 10 with this pit stop. They'll change Firestone tires and add shell fuel here for McLaughlin. Quick change there for a compound change, and he's released.
It's quite a surprise that he only qualified 20th yesterday after leading the first 2 practice sessions. So we know the number 3 Freightliner Chevy has some pace as we ride the Delaware Light on board with Marcus Ericsson. And we see an overtake from Alexander Rossi coming up the inside.
That's Ericsson fresh out of the pits as Dylan Will Power comes to the pits.
Yep, all the leaders getting ready to start making their first stops of the day. Here's Will Power, who, as we said, got to the lead on lap 1, turn 1, started on the primary tires. Romain Grosjean in behind him as well. Power, it looks like, is going to go to a set of alternate tires. No change on the chassis or the front wing for Power. Grosjean is in behind him as well. They had a set of red tires laid out at first, but they've opted to put a set of primaries on for Grosjean, who did a great job to start on the reds.
Those look like used reds, used alternates for Will Power, so he still will use another set later on. And let's watch the blend here.
That's Santino Ferrucci on the right. The 2 cars directly behind him on the racetrack when he pitted have come out of the pits in front, but he's got a lap of heat in those tires. Can he make a move on Colton heading down into 4 or down the back straight?
Be really fun to see Ferrucci get to the tail of Romain Grosjean, but Grosjean seemingly no issues finding grip, finding temperature on this outlap.
And now Alex Palou, as he almost always does, goes longer. Will he jump Will Power in the pit exchange? First we see the stop, Dylan.
And they wanted to wait just to make sure they could try to get some clean air on that in lap. Palou is asking for a little bit of a front wing change as they'll start this second stint with primary tires as well. There's the wing change waiting on fuel. Palou's release. Let's watch the blend.
That was not a great stop, Dylan. 9.2 seconds for Alex Palou as Power comes down the front straight.
Headed down towards the chicane, and Power is going to maintain the advantage.
Easily gets it done. I think you called it there, Townsend. That stop a little bit slow, and even with the seeming advantage of doing the overcut there, staying out that lap longer, was not enough for Palou. He'll have to regroup. He's got 2 more tries at it, right? There's 2 more stops in this race if everything goes according to plan. There you go, Ferrucci on the inside of Herta into 4.
That's a big move.
That's a huge move.
Did Herta make a mistake that opened up the door for Santino Ferrucci? Let's look.
So that's the lap car, I believe, of Connor Daly. Oh no, gets forced out. Oh no, that's Grosjean. He's going for the move on Grosjean. I apologize.
He was trying to go around Romain Grosjean. Let's watch again on board. The game bridge on board with Herta. Is there contact? There is.
So who was that in front coming out? It was Newgarden.
Is that Newgarden out of the pits?
Newgarden out of the pits. He's slow. Grosjean must have missed a shift or something.
Does Grosjean know there's a car with Colton Herta even to his outside?
I'd be surprised. You're looking down at your wheel. You're panicking, trying to get that thing rolling again. That's not really a too wide part of the racetrack.
Either way, look who is right on the tail of his season-long nemesis, Santino Ferrucci, on the hunt.
And he's on the soft tires as well. Hard tires in front for Grosjean. So advantage grip-wise goes to Ferrucci.
And probably a pretty fired-up Colton Herta back on track, looking to get back to where he feels he rightfully belongs in this running order.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth on that. This is going to get a little bit spicy. You see Colton Herta on the radio.
Grosjean just pushed me off. Copy, 4 lap, 10
Championship leader, second in this race, Alex Palou. Dylan is making stop number 2.
He is, and this will be his first stint on the red tires. Asked for a half turn of front wing. He actually got a little bit free, a little bit loose at the end of his run on those primary tires. That's this most recent run. So they'll add shell fuel here, make that front wing change, and change tires for Palou. We see Joseph Newgarden in front of him as well. And Newgarden's in. They were telling him to just keep pushing on that run. They were on the primary tires, I believe, and I think they're going to go to another set of primaries as well for Newgarden.
So we still need to see Power, Ferrucci, Herta, Armstrong, and more make their second stop. What does the overcut do? Staying out longer.
Well, for Will Power, he's going farther than I thought he could on those used reds. So that is a pretty powerful sign. He'll come to pit lane now, but he did a great job on that stint, James, to maintain pace. And this means he's got a set of sticker reds still in the bag.
Sticker reds in the bag, and he's going to have to use them at some point. He started on the primaries, went to those scuffed reds, the used reds.
Dylan, are those used reds again?
They sure are, so they're saving their set of sticker reds for the final stop here. Power has been really happy with the balance all day, and they're going to save their best tires for the end of the runs. Georgia.
Yeah, Santino Ferrucci has been incredibly quiet on the radio. They went from scuffed reds to blacks, but no complaints from Ferrucci.
And Power is very safely out. Look at that gap for Power for Alex Palou, now just coming through turn 1.
Yeah, that was a healthy gain.
Watch this, guys. The 14 of Santino Ferrucci coming out of pit lane, and who's that? Romain Grosjean goes by. What about Connor Daly here and Kyle Kirkwood on hot tires? This could get dicey coming to the S's.
I'm not sure there's a huge amount of love lost between Connor Daly and Santino Ferrucci either. And let's face it, Santino has been very open. I'm not here to make friends. I like Santino, but I don't know if a lot of the other drivers do. So here we go.
Big tire advantage for Santino. Connor still has to pit. 31 was the last lap he came in on. But Santino, cold tires. Now you see Kirkwood had to give that position up to Connor. And he wants it back.
Past halfway in the race, we start to think about push to pass seconds remaining. Connor drafts up, not close enough to make the move work, but at any point now, Connor Daly likely coming to pit lane. There it is.
And Ferrucci's tires are up to temp now, and there was no reason for Daly, knowing he was going to pit, to really force the issue here. So the second stop for Connor Daly, who is doing what he needs to do to score points for the number 78 entry to get that $1 million leader circle. The revenue sharing that we see in other team sports, which is a part of IndyCar. He came in, that entry did, 3 points behind the number 20. We've already seen their issues. They're running back at 21st right now. Solid stop for Juncos Hollinger, and Daly is back out.
So now we'll watch for the cars leading for now. Herta, Armstrong, Ericsson, McLaughlin, and Christian Lundgaard all need to make their second stop soon.
By the way, look at the gap that Will Power now has had Alex Palou. 6th and 7th in the race, but it's about 5 seconds as we ride the NTT on board with Nolan Siegel.
Good rookie battle here, Siegel versus Toby Sowery.
See him on the overtake. He's on the hybrid being depleted. That's the little displays on the left and right hand side of the cockpit. He's got a great run. Toby defends to the inside. He's going to try to hang it on the outside.
Oh!
Big commitment from Siegel. He goes off. He goes way off.
But he's able to make the corner. But look at how slow he has to navigate the grass as he's still turning right.
And dragging dirt and debris onto the race line, onto the racetrack. Anyone behind's now got to be a little bit cautious.
So impressed with the racecraft from Toby Sowery today. Good, clean, hard racing.
That's what I was going to say. He's had 2 battles, and he has prevailed in both of them. Marcus Ericsson trying to move back forward now.
Yeah, you don't have to be the last guy on the brakes if the other guy doesn't make the corner. So Sowery got it done on the first time and the second time down to the chicane. We see McLaughlin now in another set of what looks like used reds going on for Scotty Mack.
So we still need to see the top 3 pit, Herta, Armstrong, and Ericsson, for the second time. Everyone else still has 1 more pit. The top 3 need to stop twice.
Oh, look at Sowery, too. He's way over on the marbles, which I'm sure he considered as he had to decide on his breaking point right here.
And you're trying to dummy the other driver into doing just that. And now I got to give Nolan credit. He broke late and he gave Sowery enough room to get it done. The 26 is in, Georgia.
Yeah, and there was a left rear tire temperature concern earlier in that stint, but it didn't stop them. He went from scuffed reds back to scuff red, similar to Will Power that filled it up with shell fuel and he was down and away. It was a quick stop.
So a red race for the 26 because he still has not yet used his sticker set as we see his teammate Ericsson in. There's the stickers going on, the 28. Quick stop from the Andretti Global crew there.
And those early pit stops like Pato Award, we thought, okay, this looks like it's going to be a black race, but Will Power really setting the trend for the rest of the field as Romain Grosjean is stalled.
What?
And backwards. Did he get help?
Brutal result after a great run going. These hybrid systems should technically allow you to restart, and that was, he had it running.
He got that left rear kicker as he is able to restart his car. It comes right in front of Christian Rasmussen.
That was lazy. That was foolish to not look in your mirror and know what was coming when you're turning. He just did it again.
Just about got Toby Sowery there, I think.
Got the flat. He didn't get hit. He drove straight into the 20. That's the wrong way of wording that one. And oh no, left rear down. It's going to be a long lap to get it around.
Long trip.
There was a problem with the MCU.
That was.
What happened when I got the MCU?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. You lost
Sloppy.
control with the left rear getting that kicker off the turn 1 apex, and to your point, just drove right across the race running traffic.
There's so much tarmac down there in turn 1 to make that spin around. He could have even gone the other direction. Let's take a look again. So he spins around and then just drives straight for the racing line.
What is that all about?
He should be nowhere near that curve. That's
totally agree.
100% on the 77. I feel bad for Rasmussen. I hope there's no damage on the front of the 20.
Well, and I see Rasmussen dropping, so is he stopping? And remember, he's in that tight battle for the last leading circle points paying position, 22nd in entrant points.
This is a replay on the left.
You can see wing damage there for Rasmussen, I think.
I'm going to give credit to the hybrid system for getting the car started, but yeah, look at that damage on the 20. Georgia, what are they saying on the radio?
Well, he's in the pits right now. They changed the nose wing and put new tires on it, but there is pretty heavy damage on the front of the 20.
Second in the championship coming into the day. Points as they run. He is third. Final stop, Georgia.
Trying to make up as most points as he can on Alex Palou. He was asked by Rob Edwards if he wanted any changes. No changes to the wing. Fresh reds on Colton Herta. He's down.
Stalled.
Oh, he stalled it. Colton Herta is stalled. There he goes.
A critical 5 or 6 seconds that will take him out of play for a podium finish.
Was that a hybrid restart on pit lane?
It sure looked that way.
Or was that Andy stall? Because I didn't hear the engine still running.
I want to hear that again as McLaughlin comes in for his last stop.
I don't know, Georgia, maybe you could give us some clarity on whether or not you heard a full engine stall there.
So as we have understood them in the past, the hybrid is not allowed to restart the car on pit lane.
Yeah, Georgia, can you confirm that the engine was dead?
It did sound quiet to me. It did sound like the engine was off.
I thought the functionality was shut off, but hey, we'll tackle that one later, Dylan, because the leader's in the pits.
That's right, Will Power, and they have that set of sticker red tires at their disposal. That's what they'll put on here. Need another fast stop here for the Power crew. They do it. Joseph Newgarden is in as well. He has a set of sticker primary tires if they want it, but I believe they're going to go to used reds here to finish. Alex Palou should be in the next lap as Newgarden completes service.
That's one of the reasons why Newgarden would have wanted to stay out as long as he can to shorten this final stint on the used alternates. And be right on board with McLaughlin, looking back to Ferrucci. So Ferrucci in the exchange has lost some positions. McLaughlin and Armstrong have both jumped him, and even Herta is still in front of him. So when does Alex Palou come in? The answer is now. Final pit stop for the championship leader, also trying to add another race win today, Dylan.
And they had new reds on this previous stint, so wanted to not only stay out to try to take advantage of those, but just do the overcut, have a lap of clean traffic in front of them, or clean track in front of them. This is a set of used black tires. That's really their only option unless they wanted to go to used reds. No stickers for Palou, so let's watch the blend.
Best stop of the leaders, though, is 6.0 for Alex Palou, but it still won't be enough as Will Power fires right by.
Power is gone by multiple car lengths, but big for Alex Palou that he is, for the moment, going to avoid some traffic, but he's got cold Firestones. Can he hold on to the track position?
A big tire advantage to Will Power on those sticker reds. He's going to be able to just stretch this lead, barring any issues or yellows.
This is turning into a beatdown for Will Power. Let's think about it from this perspective. When David Malukas was announced with A.J. Foyt Racing a couple of weeks ago, people paying attention in the paddock said, there's a tie-in with Team Penske there. This, whether it's in writing or anything else, but has a lot to do with who is the heir apparent for Team Penske, potentially replacing Will Power. Will Power's not ready to give up the seat. I know he's got one more year in the contract, but I believe he'd like to go longer than that. Let's remind everyone, Will Power is still quick and is not ready to cede control of that
listen,
position.
after today's performance, you wouldn't want Will Power to even consider it. You'd say, hey, we'd like you to re-sign today for 5 more years. Keep doing what you're doing. You've mastered the art of qualifying, and in terms of racing, you're among the very best in the history of this sport, as his wife Liz, as always, looks on anxiously with that water bottle, utterly destroyed at this point. It's been twisted a million times all day. But she knows her husband is firmly in control right now with just a lap and a half to go.
Well, it's wonderful, first of all, to see Liz feeling good back at the racetrack. She went through some very well-documented health issues at the beginning of last season, and that had a lot to do with Will Power not having a good season. He could not focus on the job. He was taking care of his wife. He thought about retiring. He wondered, is this right? We have a young son. Should I be risking my health when it's uncertain about my wife's health? White flag, one more to go for Will Power.
White flag for a guy who just a week ago on a Saturday night in St. Louis was absolutely furious, losing his mind on pit lane at what happened on that restart. And today couldn't contrast more, James, in terms of the kind of serene day that Will Power has had start to finish. It's been smooth, it's been perfect, and it's been dominant.
2 wins on the season already. He'll be the first driver to clock up a 3rd victory in 2024. And with that, even though championship leader Palou is right behind him, he closes the gap. He keeps the championship fight alive, and it is just great to see from Power.
Scott McLaughlin, in his win 2 years ago, led 104 laps in a dominating win. Just about as close for Will Power. 101 laps led. He went 2 years without a win. Now in 2 months, Will Power's won 3 times. Power wins at Portland to keep his championship hopes alive.
Way to execute, buddy. Nice job. Nice job, everybody. Nice job, guys. Things a little more interesting.
It's just about time to celebrate at Portland International for the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland, where Will Power, now climbing out, has won for the 44th time. It's only Mario Andretti, Scott Dixon, and A.J. Foyt that have more, and he is still in play for a 3rd championship.
Hey, last week was tough for you. How rewarding was a performance like this today, ultimately, that ended up in victory lane?
Oh man, very rewarding. I came here determined, so did the whole team. I mean, good job, man. Thank you, thank you.
You did it? Oh, I knew you could do it.
Yeah, I mean, came here very determined. For one, get qualifying right, and then executing the race. It's kind of our not last ditch effort, but really if Palou finished ahead of us today, it was going to be very difficult. So absolute team effort. Very lucky to drive for this team. Very lucky to have a sponsor like Verizon and Chevrolet. So going to keep fighting ahead here. A couple of bad races before this, but yeah, really love this series. I feel lucky to be a part of it and race all these good drivers and see if we can get a championship.
Ovals next to end the year. So what kind of opportunity is that for you guys to continue to just keep the pressure on?
Yeah, I mean, we've been very good on ovals. Very solid. Obviously, they're 2 ovals that we haven't raced at for a long time. So you know, it's anyone's game. I hope that we get it right. We'll do our best and take the fight to Alex.
You have raced at Milwaukee before. It's been a while, but does that give you any more confidence that you guys can go and deliver another performance like you need to?
Yeah, I mean, you get a little bit out of it. I've won there before, and the formula isn't that different. In the car, the track has degraded a bit, but, you know, we'll see. It's such a competitive series. Anyone can turn up any weekend and win, so you just got to be on your toes.
Up next, it's the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250 Race 1, Saturday, August 31st. Watch it at 6 p.m. on Peacock.